Let's go with the
And also how your experience has been at CSPC and whether you've enjoyed it or not.
No, haven't enjoyed it at all.
Okay.
Actually, I've only missed one conference. So.
Oh, really? Oh,
Okay.
interesting. Okay. Shall we?
All set.
The voice is good?
You're all good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Hello and welcome everyone. We are at the 5th Canadian Science Policy Conference here in Toronto at the Allstream Convention Centre. It's the second day of the conference. I'm sitting here with the wonderful Bonnie Schmidt, who is the president and co-founder of Let's Talk Science. We just got done with a panel which was an amazing panel according to my opinion. It was about engaging students in science and what are some of the challenges that we're facing right now. So Bonnie, could you just tell us briefly about your experience with Let's Talk Science and how you got involved with this?
Well, I started Let's Talk Science 20 years ago when I was a graduate student at Western. I was doing my PhD in physiology at the time, and it was a time of a recession in which the funding to the granting councils had been cut quite significantly. So at that point in time, researchers weren't doing much outreach, and I started a small outreach project, never thinking I'd still be doing it 20 years later, but it really built on the passion of graduate students who would reach out to the community to get teachers engaged with the university. 20 years later, we now work with 40 universities and colleges.
Oh, wonderful.
With that program that began 20 years ago. We've got over 4,000 volunteers, about 60% are master's and PhD students.
Okay.
And we've done a whole variety of other programs, but what I really love about this conference is the youthful faces that I'm seeing. So we're seeing some of our outreach volunteers here, but being able to inspire the next generation of researchers, which was really close to my heart with starting Let's Talk Science all those years ago. That's
great.
Yeah.
It's great. I think the conference brings together people from a variety of backgrounds, but with a common interest in science. And are there any specific grade that you focus on, or is it all across?
It's all across.
the board?
With Let's Talk Science over the years, my background's science, and as I've become more knowledgeable about the education system and learning, it's become really clear that you have to start young, and you have to go. It's a lifelong process, and it's a cultural process.
Absolutely.
So at Let's Talk Science, we have programs and resources that start as early as child care environments, and we have programs in about 1,900 child care centers and kindergarten classrooms. And then we have programs that are engaging post-secondary volunteers. So we have something all the way through the continuum for preschool to grade 12, and then engaging the post-secondary community, universities and college and professionals in science, tech, engineering, and math disciplines to reach out. So we pull it all together. We're really quite unique in that sense.
That's amazing. There's been a lot of reports lately about the declining interest in science among grade school students, and also the perception, and you talked about this at the panel as well, that the perception of science and the value of science is not the same as what it used to be. People are probably not aware of what they can do with their science degree.
Right.
So do you think the landscape has changed 20 years ago from now? Is it a new challenge that you're facing with, or is it the same problem in a new story?
I think it's just it's different. It's a really complicated environment now, and science and technology underpin and drive more now than it did 20, 30 years ago. So we're talking about it more. Right? It doesn't matter where you're looking towards jobs, whether it's university-bound jobs, college-bound jobs, or skilled trades-bound jobs. The need for science, technology, and math is far greater than it was 20 or 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
So I think the disconnect between young people's interest in pursuing STEM-related careers is actually heightened now. You know, we used to only talk about traditional career pathways and where kids engage, but now we're talking about an exploding number of jobs. And I think we've become more consciously aware of disconnect. So I'm not entirely sure that it's changed so much from 30 years ago. I think the barriers are still the same barriers, but we're talking more about it now in a way that I've never, ever seen. And so it's so exciting, and we're actually at a point in time in Canada's life. We're still a really young country, right?
Yeah,
we need
absolutely.
to define who we are, where we're going to go, and the opportunity to really build a science literate community is really high.
Absolutely, and like you said, technology has brought a lot of topics closer to us, so it seems though as if you're talking about it a lot more. And
Yes.
it's amazing the benefits you have with technology that you can raise awareness about things. Just follow up to that, how has the engagement been at the teacher level as well as parents?
Yeah, it's slightly easier to get to teachers than it is to get to parents,
okay.
right? So in order to get to parents, you often have to use mass media.
Right.
Because it is very difficult to get into schools to begin with, but then to get through schools to parents is very difficult. It's very difficult. So we're able to do that more at the younger ages when parents are more engaged, going to a child care center, getting kids from primary grades. Really important audience. With Let's Talk Science, we do quite a bit with teachers, so they are very much engaged. High school teachers are usually quite predisposed to science and technology because they might have an undergrad degree in
science,
it, and they need to stay current. So they're often looking for what's new in the world of science, what's relevant to ethical issues, to societal issues, to environmental issues, and how can we help them pull it together for the classroom.
Okay.
And at the other end of the spectrum, elementary teachers often do not have a science and technology background, and many times they need help with being confident because their skills are there. They just often don't realize they can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. What are the interesting challenges that you face? And on that note, as a final question, I just want to ask you how your experience has been at the conference. I know you've attended some of the conferences in the past.
Almost all of them.
All of them? Oh, wonderful! It's great. It's great that to have champions there. How's the experience been so far? Do you feel that there's more that you'd like to see in the coming few years, or are we doing a good enough job?
I think you're doing a great job. I think having the diversity of the panels is fantastic. I think keeping an eye on policy issues and how can you have diverse stakeholders contribute to the conversation is really, really important. So kudos for a fantastic event.
All right. On that note, thank you, Bonnie, for being with us today, and thank you everyone for watching. All right. Thank you.